Let's touch on your brief, first of all, and what you're announcing today. Before I get to that, I'm probably going to ask you this every time you come on. Still committed? Still confident you'll hit 1.5 million homes by the end of the Parliament?
Still confident, still committed. I always say to you, we have discussed it many times in the past, that it's an incredibly stretching target. We could have picked a far less stretching target, would have been far easier to meet, but it wouldn't have been commensurate with the scale of the housing crisis that we face in this country. I always give you the figure, 160,000 children homeless in temporary accommodation as we sit here. We've got to take radical action to turn that around.
Well, of course, if you miss the target, we're going to have a great montage of you recommitting to the target repeatedly. And specifically, relating to that, what are you announcing today?
Well, we're announcing today an immediate injection of £2 billion in capital spend to build up to 18,000 social and affordable homes. It's part of our commitment to deliver the biggest boost in social and affordable house building in a generation. And just to make really clear, this is not the sum total of what we'll invest in social and affordable housing for 2026-27. It's a down payment on future long-term funding. It's a bridge to get us to a successor programme. But pulling that funding forward will give certainty to the sector. It will ensure that we get houses being built out far quicker, make sure that more are built out in this Parliament. As I said, honouring our commitment to that biggest boost social affordable house building in a generation and helping us meet that 1.5 million target, because at the heart of it is social and affordable housing. Indeed, we can't meet that 1.5 million commitment without a significant uplift in it.
I guess the real proof will be in that 1.5 million target at the end of the Parliament, and we could argue all day long about some of these sort of smaller sub-announcements, but it is interesting that you want to trumpet the 2 billion announcement, because the Affordable Homes Programme, launched in 2020, worth 12 billion for the 5 financial years that followed, actually implies 2.4 billion a year in this area. So announcing 2 billion today, it's not new additional money, it's just moving it around in terms of the year that it falls?
Let's be very clear on this, because I think your viewers will want to know about the significance of the investment we're making today. The Affordable Homes Programme 2021 to 2026, when we assumed office, was already nearly exhausted outside of London. It was a small amount remaining in London. We topped up that funding by 800 million over recent months, an additional in-year top-up. This is a separate, additional £2 billion worth of capital investment, as I said, to act as a down payment on future funding for social and affordable housing, as a bridge to get us to that successor programme, which we'll announce at the spending review. But as I said, we think there's a real case for pulling forward that funding to give certainty to affordable housing providers, to get more spades in the ground more quickly to help us meet that 1.5 million home target.
So pulling it forward, is it a sign, therefore, that the government's prioritising house building over welfare spending, given the announcements of the last couple of weeks, which is understandable when budgets are tight, but I guess that's a fair conclusion?
Well, budgets are tight, but I think we've been very, very clear about what our priorities are. Our plan for change includes very, very clear milestones. That 1.5 million new homes target, also a big target on decisions for nationally significant infrastructure projects. So, yes, funding is going to flow towards the priorities that the government has outlined as part of its plan for change. And our target of 1.5 million homes is absolutely central to tackling that housing crisis, but also to kick-starting economic growth. And you know that we had a dire inheritance on planning applications, on build-out rates. We've got to turn all that around very quickly. As I said, pulling this funding forward will allow us to get more projects going more quickly, and all of this funding will be directed at projects that will complete in this Parliament.
Triple lock on pensions, is that an ironclad commitment?
Absolutely committed to the triple lock on pensions, and your viewers will know that that's going to deliver up to £1,900 for pensioners over the course of this Parliament. It's absolutely a key part of how we're going to boost living standards across the country, along with the action we're taking on things like the minimum and living wage.
I'm sure you've seen the stories out of the US about the revelation of the upcoming bombing that took place of Houthi rebels on a Signal chat group. Did that sort of send a shiver down your spine to remind you to be very careful with government communication? Is there a cabinet WhatsApp group or Signal group?
Well, I'm very confident in the security of government communications in this country. I'm not going to, if you'll forgive me, speculate on every story that comes across the other side of the Atlantic.
No, I'm using it as a trigger to... Did you guys?
It's ultimately a matter. That is ultimately a matter for the US administration.
But do you guys have a cabinet WhatsApp group?
I don't. I'm not in the cabinet.
Oh well, forgive me for that.
I'm not sure if the cabinet. I'm not sure if the cabinet has a WhatsApp group. There are many WhatsApp groups in Westminster, as I'm sure you know.
I know there are lots. It did send a shiver down my spine as well, just to make sure, remind you to be careful with these communications. I mean, I guess it came up, of course, during the pandemic, the extent to which WhatsApp and things. Is this government sort of started afresh on that? Is it kind of quite boring in its using official channels only, or is WhatsApp and text messaging and Signal used quite a lot in government?
Well, I can only give you my own experience. Government communications, both electronic on email and via phone, are secure. They're compartmentalised, if you like, from personal email addresses. And that's absolutely appropriate, isn't it, not to mix up. Both parliamentary communications via MPs from ministerial communications. But yeah, I'm absolutely confident, as I say, in the appropriate robustness of our arrangements that government communications take place on.
What's your view on the digital sales tax? Is this something that is worth scrapping in order to secure a trade deal with the US? It's clearly now on the table, at least, based on comments from Rachel Reeves yesterday.
Well, we are focused on trying to agree an economic prosperity deal with the United States. We're hugely invested in each other's economies. There's great strengths that our countries share in terms of that trading relationship. And it's fair and balanced at present, so we don't want to obviously get into a world of tariffs. I'm not going to comment on trade negotiations that are ongoing, but I think your viewers can be assured we're going to negotiate in the national interest. We'll ensure that we get a good deal, but we are focused on that deal, and the Prime Minister spoke very recently to President Trump about the progress that is taking place on those negotiations.